like you put the coffee in and then you dump some milk in and then you have to dump some steam into it or stick your finger in it or throw some suds on it and some dish soap and then a little bit of whipped cream. Like, I think people are so used to making that kind of a drink that when somebody asks for a black coffee, they don't know what to fucking do. Like, the lady... Okay, so I walk up. I feel like shit today for some reason. I'm sleepy and everything. And so I'm going in there to read, which is lame anyways. Well, reading a textbook at least. And so I go in there, and she's like, oh, what can I get for you today? And I was like, I'll just take a black coffee. And she's like, so, nothing in it? And I'm like, no. Unless you do something to make it black. Like, I mean, you throw licorice in it or something. And
she's got some fucking voodoo magic in the back.
Yeah, have a sorcerer come and put some evil into it. So, like, just dips his finger in there and it turns like a fucking red glowing color.
And then, like, the steam comes out and makes, like, the fucking devil.
Yeah, like, so I'm like... And she's like, no, we don't do anything to make it a black coffee. I'm like, okay, then yeah. Just a plain black coffee. And she's like, okay.
Are you fucking with me right now?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, and she's like, okay. And, like, she literally, like... did the slow turn.
It's like
she like went to get the cup and she did the slow turn on me like she was expecting me to like rob the place or something. Like, I'm like, is it really that outlandish to order a black coffee at Starbucks?
It's like, okay, I'm going towards the coffee.
You can stop me anytime.
Pouring the coffee. Are you sure there's not anything else?
The milk is right by my hand.
I'm coming back. There's no going back. Once I turn around and give you the coffee, that's it. You're gonna get what you get. You can't throw a fit.
Yeah. Yeah, so, like, she did the slow turn on me, and she's like, okay, so what cup would you like? What size would you like? And then I was like, well, I don't know. I know you guys have, like, a foreign language for small, medium, and large, so which one is the medium? And she's like, it's...
Oh, Grande Venti.
Yeah, it's the Grande. And I was like, then let's go with that one. And she was just like, okay. And then I was like, do you want anything? So she comes back. She puts it on the table, and she's like, do you want anything else with that? And I said, nope, this is totally perfect, and I appreciate it. And she was just like, she's like, okay, like, fuck you, I guess, like, fuck it, I don't want to get you anything anyways. She's like, just kind of did the whole, like, the, okay.
Yeah.
And so I was like, yeah, that was weird. And so that's not even my story. So, so I go and I sit down and I start reading, and I've done so much reading for school over the past 8 months or so, and I've adopted this fun little characteristic of me reading. Now, I can get about 4 good pages read, and then I start dozing off, okay? But the fun thing is that in my mind, as I'm asleep, or as I'm dozing off, my eyes are closed, and I'm, like, getting into this process of sleep, and my mind keeps reading something that isn't inside my book. I'll be mid-sentence, my eyes will close, I'll doze off, and in my brain, I'm still reading something. Like, the words are still passing, but it has nothing to fucking do with what I'm reading. So if I'm reading about, like, if I'm reading about chemicals or something, and it talks about, the vapor, and pressure of a chemical determines, how it disperses through the air and things like this, and then I'll fall asleep, and then in my mind I'll be like, and this is why we can't have anything nice. And so it's like, I'm having this conversation in my brain, and then I wake up, and I'm like, I go back and I look, and that has nothing to do with what's on the paper.
Nope, they didn't say that.
They didn't say that. That's why we can't have anything nice, and this is why you got to be careful because you might die. Or, and so I'm always aware of this, but I figured it's a home thing. So this is why I'm actually at the Starbucks, is because there's nice natural light. I'm sitting on I'm sitting at the bar in front of the window.
You're like every other fucking douche nozzle that hipster guy that goes to Starbucks, gets their little coffee, and then sits there and does their little reading, or they fucking type on their computer.
Today, yes.
Yeah.
Well, only because I thought it would keep me awake, because I tried it at home.
Which is funny, because I would relish the opportunity to see what other people were staring at you, and maybe thinking that you might eat them.
Well, I might have, because I sure did fucking, as I was sitting there reading, so let me paint a picture. So I take my cup, and I take my book, and I go over and I set it on the bar top. And already I'm having a hard time climb up this fucking bar stool. Just because it won't... I'm trying to maneuver. I've got my book in my left hand, I got my cup in my right hand, so I'm trying to use my foot to maneuver this thing around the back of me so that I can just kind of pop up on it, right? And so it's scraping across the tile. It's like across the tile, so everybody's looking at me there like, fucking let's go, guy. Get sitting down. Get your shit together and sit down, you know?
Obviously, you've never done this before.
Never done this before. Sorry. I don't frequent coffee shops. So they're all it's like I'm in a library. I'm expecting somebody to come out and just be like, shh. You know, so that happened.
Hey, Dick, I'm writing my memoirs over here.
I'm writing my script, okay?
I'm going to be discovered.
I'm sending this to somebody. I don't know who.
Spielberg. Or Scorsese.
I'm sending this to somebody. And so, yeah, so I finally get my big ass up into this bar stool. And I open my book. And I look around again, you know, everybody's kind of calming down from me causing such a loud scene there. And there's a lady to my left, okay, sitting in chairs. And there's 3 people on my right, 1 at the bar, and then 2 sitting at the long table doing their thing. So I'm always trying to look, I don't know, it's just, I like to know my surroundings. So I look around and I see what's going on. Cool. So I start reading, start drinking my cup of coffee. I even have a highlighter because I'm that big of a dickhead. I'm that big of a douche. So I'm highlighting things as I read. And the next thing I know, I violently sit up and kick my feet out, and I kick the door, or kick the part of the window underneath the bar, you know, or not the window, but the window seal under the bar. And my chair scoots out, so I make another loud, and I look around, and everybody's like looking at me and laughing at me, because guess who fell asleep at Starbucks? And the funny thing is that I've got a big, thick neck, I'm asthmatic, and if you can't tell everybody, I've got a nasal thing going on right now because it's been like 60, 70 degrees, so all of my allergies are kicking in all at once. I can guarantee you I was snoring like a walrus, okay? I was probably like sawing the biggest log in history. And
like fucking Paul Bunyan.
Paul fucking Bunyan. And so, yeah, so I'm probably sitting there just snoring my ass off. And luckily I was only out for like a couple of minutes, literally like 2 minutes. But you know, that's plenty of time to start snoring and filling that whole room full of bullshit.
That's plenty of time to look like a dick.
Plenty of time to look like a dick. So, not only did that happen, but when I realized, because I had one of those lucid dreams where you all of a sudden realize you're asleep. Like, I'm sitting here doing something, and I'm like... And
shit, I'm asleep!
Well, yeah, and all of a sudden, I catch a hold of my dream, and I say, oh, I'm asleep. I wonder if I'm still at Starbucks. And that's when I wake up. I fucking snap awake, like I sit up real fast, my feet kick out, boom, I kick whatever's underneath the table, and my chair scoots out. And, like, I do that, and everybody's looking at me and giggling and laughing, and I was just like, and I kind of sat there and I said, I kind of said to everybody, just a blanket statement, loudly, I was like, this book isn't very entertaining, this book it's not very interesting. And then I kind of like scooted my chair back in, like, you know, embarrassed, and I read a couple more pages, and then I said, I gotta get the fuck out of here. This is not going. Because you know, you're all self-conscious now that you're gonna fall asleep again, and I've never been kicked out of a Starbucks before, and I didn't want to get kicked out from something so lame.
Yeah.
Now, I'll get kicked out for being awesome, but not for being lame.
Yeah.
So that happened to me today.
Excuse me, sir. Grandpa, you're gonna have to go home.
I know, man.
Is there somebody that we can call?
Oh, yeah. Do we need to call that assisted living bus to come and pick you up the metro? But yeah, so that was interesting. And I had a story. And see, this is kind of how I pieced my day together. So I was headed to Starbucks to go and to get a coffee to wake myself up so that I could read.
Which did not work.
She must have slipped me a decaf thinking that, well, he just wants it plain. He must not want any caffeine in it either. So yeah, I started out headed that way. Then I went to Best Buy and looked around. And then from there I got a call from my insurance place, which was down, you know, a good 10 blocks in the opposite direction. So I went there and I paid my insurance. And then I drove back up. Then I finally, from there, went to Starbucks. And then after I was embarrassed, I left Starbucks. And as I pulled my car, I noticed, oh, there's a Sports Clips. I guess I'll get my hair cut. And so then I went and I got my hair cut. And then I went to Academy Sports. Or no, I went to Dick's. Obviously. And then I went home. And I got home and I was like, why did I fucking do all that stuff? I just was trying to go out and read, but I don't know. I guess I just needed to redeem myself and not go right home after that traumatic experience. I needed to get out and see some people and be like, hey, I'm still cool, guys. Finger pointing and winking at people, and yeah. Maybe I got my hair. Maybe it was subconsciously I needed to get my hair cut so I could like change my look so that people won't recognize me. So yeah, that was fucking special. I'm a special individual. But without being special, I wouldn't have such a fun story to tell. Have you ever fallen asleep in a public place like that before? Other than like obvious places like on an airplane or at an airport waiting or something like that. Samson done.
She's doing it right now.
Yeah, fucking the angry tap dancing lion doesn't even give a shit. That side told a story.
Yeah, it's like, you guys are fucking boring right now.
Move it along, assholes. Move it along.
No. Next topic, please.
Well, okay. Let yourself get to my age, and then I bet you're going to fall asleep everywhere. I hope you fall asleep everywhere.
That's cool.
Except for behind the wheel.
I'll fall asleep at the lowercase x fucking piano recitals and all sorts of shit, I'm sure.
Well, I honestly, I can't even. Yeah, and I noticed that I fell asleep for about 40 minutes of Deadpool in the theater.
Are you fucking serious?
Yeah, I couldn't help it. I just again, I'm watching the movie, and then the next thing you know, my head like snaps back up because I guess I was doing one of those like head totally back behind me things.
Dude, I was engulfed in that movie.
Oh, I was too. I mean, I went and saw it a second time just because I knew because I wanted to see it, but it was just one of those things. I think I had come back from a long work trip and I was fucking tired, and Gage the Rage was like, let's go see it. And so he actually, Gage the Rage, fell asleep in it too. So
Jeez. We
went back to go see it again. But yeah, if anybody remembers Gage the Rage, he's one of the End Friends. He's one of the Megalodonand co-stars, co-hosts, co-founder, really. Well, dude, we got about 18 minutes left. You want to cram a little TWD and...
yeah, that's why we're here, right?
Yeah, well, again, this is turning into a closet TWD show, I think. Which is okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
I like talking about it. And we got a couple of headlines, so I think we got just enough time to polish it off with that shit.
We could do that.
All right. So, I'm just going to come out throwing fastballs.
All right.
Okay. So that wasn't the... Okay. It turns out, if you haven't seen it yet, spoiler alert. Hold on a second. Let's get our spoiler alert up here. All right, spoiler alert. Every week it's new. It's a new, it's a new thing.
Yeah.
So spoiler alert. We have an arbitrary group, kind of like the Terminus group.
Yeah.
We predicted that the new group that we saw in the previews was going to be the Whisperers, and that, what was her name? Fliffliffliss? I forgot her name.
In the comic or in the show?
On the show.
I wasn't paying attention.
The mullet lady with the chopped bangs.
Yeah, I don't remember her name.
I will refer to her as Mullet Bangs then.
Sure.
So Mullet Bangs is not Alpha. She's somebody else. But these are more of scavenger type people, apparently. Yeah. Now, I'm going to ask you a question here before I establish it. So for those of you that have really just been relying on us to tell you what's happened.
Don't do that.
I say do that, and then tell all your friends what you've learned, and see if they start laughing at you. So, what's happened is, many seasons ago, I think it was season 4, the gang, again, I like to call them the gang gets split up, and they're all looking for one another, and they all kind of go their own separate directions, but they find a place called Terminus, okay? Early on, I thought that the Terminus people might have been the wolves, because everybody was like, oh, the wolves are coming. So it's like, oh, maybe that's what's at Terminus. No, Terminus was just an arbitrary group to make you think, and this is my estimation, again, being a WWE fan still at 37, because I'm a fucking awesome winner.
Because I'm the type of dude who falls asleep at Starbucks.
I'm the type of dude that falls asleep at Starbucks and don't even be giving a fuck. So this group was placed in there, this Terminus group was placed in there as an arbitrary group to throw people off the scent of the wolves, and which eventually came up like a season and a half later or a season later. Okay, the Terminus people, they say, was a combination of a couple of people a couple of groups that never showed up. One was a